priorities. And there's different frameworks that you can adapt to help you figure all this out. And then the other thing that we need to put in mind, or rather the next stage after you're implementing, is you will have to carry some form of data collection and some form of monitoring. And data collection is a whole other topic on its own. But basically, in order to ensure like you're on your way to understanding what impact you're bringing about, you need to be able to have a plan of how you will gather your data. And your data can be both qualitative and quantitative only, For those who don't know what qualitative is, this is data that you can't quantify. It's more like observing and seeing like what impact your initiatives or campaigns are having. Quantitative, on the other hand, these are things that you can quantify. These are numbers, these are percentages, things that you're able to count and multiply and get average of. And then, of course, once you have your data, there's some form of analysis and some evaluation that you have to do. This enables you to assess the effectiveness against your goal. So in this scenario is that you have your set plans or your set goals versus what you have achieved because you've collected your data. So this evaluation and analysis process is it's just a stage where you get to look between what you planned and what you've achieved and how does that look. And then, of course, you have your data, you've analyzed it, you've understood your set goals or your target and what you have. So in the insights and learning stage, this is where you identify the key lessons, things you learn, things you pick up. Like you're able to now have words to describe what you have done or what you've learned from it. And then the last thing that we really encourage is sharing or communicating about the things you've learned, outcomes, and this can take different forms depending on who your stakeholders are, who your direct beneficiaries are, who you're working with. And sometimes it can just be your own form of commitment to yourself or accountability to ensure that you're doing a narration of all that you have done within your initiative. Then, so basically, this is the same, this is a pictorial version of what I've just shared on the other one. It just shows you how you come from very specific to broad options. So you start with your mission and then your mission and vision. Then, of course, you define the keywords that matter to you. Then you link this to your vision. Then you understand how you will get there. Then you focus, you identify your key focus area, you find your resources and all, and things like that. And then now, of course, you get to the measurement when you're executing. That's when you understand what indicators do I want to look for and what, how will I understand or test or communicate my outcomes. And so this is just a summary, this is a summary slide to just put all the strategy planning together. That a good strategy needs to enable, it needs to be a framework or a strategy that acknowledges the challenges and how you'll overcome them. So knowing, like being able to plan out everything, it should be able to know like, these are the challenges I have encountered and this is how I want to, it should provide you with that room for learning. Actually, yeah. So you should be able to identify your wins, your successes, your opportunities, your threats, and all that. And then just remember that strategy helps you to make decisions. So that's why you take it. It can take a long. It should be like the first thing you do after you decide what your goal is, so that you're able to identify who do I want to reach, how will I reach them, what resources do I need, how will I ensure that I'm reaching people, and how will I improve this so that you're growing as well. And then just know like you might have a very good strategy, all areas defined, but if you're not planning to execute it, if it's not realistic enough for you to take it into the field or into your community, then it just means it's pointless. That's why strategies vary from people because we're all individual people. Like if we all care for different things. That's why it's not a one shoe fits all. Strategy should mirror your situation. Yeah. And then so now we are gonna go into 2 breakout rooms. And before we go there, maybe I can take 2 or 3 questions if anyone has a question. So we are going to go into 2 breakout rooms. And then during those breakout rooms, we will be discussing. So I'm going to give you a goal. I have a goal. The goal is launch a new community initiative in 3 months. That's my project goal. And I want you to list 3 strategic priorities that you can use, and then 3 steps that you're going, 3 interventions or steps that you're going to use to achieve it. So what will happen is we'll go into a breakout room. We'll have 5 minutes or 6 minutes, depending on what time we have. And then when we're back, we will have the two representatives presenting what they discussed in their team. So I don't know if the breakout rooms are ready, or as Fola sets up the groups. Maybe if you have a question or if you want to add something around strategy, feel free to do so. Fola, are you creating the groups?
Yes, we are facing the group. Just
Okay, okay.
In Nthanze, we're having two groups, right?
Yes. Or should we do more? We can do 3 if people are if you're a large group. There is the discussion slide. Can you please type out the topic to deliberate about? Okay, on it.
In Nthanze, can we have that the question in the chat box or something?
Yes, let me copy paste it. I've shared a screenshot as an image, but let me just copy the questions.
All right, please kindly join the breakout room. You can either join room 1 or room 2.
And we'll be back 7 minutes past now. Great, welcome back. So I'm going to start with room 1. Who is representing room 1? Just unmute and take us through your group's discussion.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Please, I want to be sure my group is group 1 or group 2. I don't know whether I'm in group 2 or I shall know I belong to a particular group. So I don't know if I should go ahead, Ma. Should I?
Okay, that we are group 2. We are group 2.
Okay. So group 1 should be the one talking first, right?
They should be the one talking first, then we take it off for group 2.
Even me, I'm not too sure what group I was. Olasukomi, are we group 1?
Yes, we are group 1. We are group 1.
Okay, thank you. All right, so let me just give a brief of what we discussed in our group. I'm sorry there might be some feedback noise. Just bear with me. So, this hold on. Okay, so looking at the question that we have, this is to launch a new community initiative in 3 months, and then the key question is we should list 3 strategic priorities and 3 execution steps. So in my group, we first came about understanding the question, understanding what it is. So we found out that to launch a new project, okay, there are certain steps to take, and then aside from drawing that map, then there are also, after drawing out the map, then you need to plan an execution process. How do you plan to action whatever it is that has been mapped out? So we discussed for the strategic initiative. One of the things we discussed was community mapping and entry. So this is to help to understand the community. So we want to have a visibility study to understand the need of the community. So we do community mapping to understand the needs of the community. Another thing is we do stakeholder mapping as well. So find out who are the key stakeholders in the community and the resources that will be needed. What are the resources that will be needed in terms of human resources, material resources, which includes financial resources and all of that. And then, okay, so once that has been done, we need to engage with the key stakeholders. So after identifying the key stakeholders, one of the execution step is to engage with the stakeholders to have a smooth collaboration as to what the project vision is and what we are trying to achieve, and to also get the approval of the key stakeholders, because they would play a vital function in ensuring the effectiveness of such project, or making that project like come to life. So I think I'll just stop there.
Great, thank you so much. Room 2? Thank you, Abigail. Room 2?
Okay.
Okay.
In our group. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Okay, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, in our group 2, we launched a community initiative tagged Akoko Community Plugger Initiative. And what we meant by that is that we discover in this community, they come together to dump a refuse in a conspicuous place where it becomes an eyesore. And so it was a big problem for the whole community because of their health and infection and diseases being spread. So, and the plugger is about cleaning the environment. It's about mobilizing you to come together to clean that particular place. So one of the 3 strategic priorities is that We want to reduce spreading of disease and infection of the people in the community. We want the community to live healthy. And lastly, we want to make sure that the community people are also responsible. So going by the 3 execution steps, what we discuss in our group is that we're going to, first of all, create awareness and engagement to the community. We want them to know why that Akoko Community Plugger Initiative is coming on board. We want them to see the reason with us that because of their health life, this refuse dump, it can spread disease and infection to their children that come to dump the refuse every time. We want them to see the reason why that initiative is coming on. And we also want them to be engaged. And that's why we are creating awareness and engagement of the people of the community. And doing that, we're going to be leveraging on the community leaders, the women leader, the youth leaders, all the stakeholders who can really help us to mobilize other people to join us, most especially the youth. And we're going to let them also be part of the Plugger initiative. Then lastly, we also look at our resources for the execution of the initiative called Akoko Community Plugger Initiative. What are the resources needed? The resources needed is, number one, we're going to get a waste bin, dust bin, where in that community, everybody can put their refuse. And if it is at a particular time, they take it to the center place. And while taking it to the center place, if it's going to be maybe 2 weeks or one week, when they come to that center place, with the youth who are going to be the volunteer, the leaders of the community who are also going to be the volunteer to come to that particular place on that week, they will come together to either to burn the perishable refuse weekly, and also pack the other refuse that can be recycled, pack it in a separate place. And each time they come together like that, part of the resources planned for is that all of them are going to have a refreshment, so that at least they see it as a fun, that they are cleaning the environment and they're also enjoying doing it. So briefly, this is just the summary of what we discussed in our group. Thank you so much. I don't know if
Thank you.
if there's permission for my co-group people to also participate in contributing. Thanks.
For now, maybe in the chat, you guys can add more points in the chat, but that was really nice. I hope like during the session, sorry? Isaac, do you have something to say? Okay, so yeah, well done, everyone. I hope like during that small exercise, you are able to be in that mind frame of what as a Starling fellow or as a Starling cohort is expected of you when you start the new campaigns and what you should factor in. I like that you all decided to understand what the community needs by doing like understanding the needs of the community, because you wanna ensure like your strategy is realistic enough. And how can it be realistic if you don't go into the community and understand the needs of the people that you want to launch the initiative for? And then for the rest of your points, I hope you can just, using that example I've provided, as you go through the next section, just keep refining and seeing how can you perfect your priorities, like your 3 set priorities. Are they smart enough? Are they realistic? Are they measurable? Yeah, so just keep that in mind as we go on. So now we're gonna go a quick sweep into goals and measurements and how we plan for impact and success. And so this is what SMART goals mean. It means that your goals or your priorities need to be specific, they need to be measurable, they need to be attainable, realistic enough, they need to be relevant. And that's why doing a strategic stakeholders mapping and a community mapping is important, so that you can know that what your goal is trying to achieve is relevant. The other thing is timing your goal or ensuring that your strategy is time bound just helps you to plan out your resources, to plan out your how and all that. And then having a goal having a goal is that's where you start. You cannot start with the implementation and you didn't even have a goal in the first place. So this goal is what makes you expand out. And so we're gonna do a small exercise, and this will just be done where you are on your desk, wherever you're listening from. Setting a SMART goal. First of all, you have to think about what your vision and mission is. And I want us to center it. When you applied for this fellowship, what was your core motivation? Write that down. Find a way to write up your vision, your mission, and all that. Keep that in mind as you go along. And once we'll get to the point where we actually write. Right now, I just want to go through a few more slides and then allow us a moment to write our goals, mission, and all that down. But understanding after you've set your goal, understanding where we measure. The reason we measure our goals is so that to know that once you measure something, that's you are writing your own story. That's one. And then measuring your goal ensures that you stay focused. It will show you like if your goal is smart enough, if your goal is relevant, if you're like it keeps you on track. And then the other thing, it will help you improve your impact, and it will help you adjust. It will help you gather feedback, and it will help you even have more impact to the people that you're intending to serve. And how then do we measure? Of course, you've said the first thing is identifying a goal, and we said goals does make such a big difference. Then the other thing, once you have your goal, like just the way we've done that exercise, you need to identify the potential activities and the different strategies and any potential indicators that you're going to use to measure your progress. And then after you've identified all that, write up a plan, find the resources you need, and all that. And then the other thing is prepare to measure. We're gonna we'll cover a bit of the different types of indicators and the different data collection mechanisms in the next 2 slides, but you always have to prepare how you will collect, or rather how you will collect data when you're in the field or when you're doing your intervention. And then the other thing is the data you've collected, how are you going to make sense of it? How are you going to analyze it? How are you going to produce the communication strategy that you want to produce? Yeah, so when we're measuring, there are 2 things that we have to keep in mind. There are things called metrics and indicators. So these are basically, indicator is like when you're driving and you have to indicate something. It's a show. It's what you're gonna look at to know like, oh, how will I know that I've succeeded in this? For example, in the Akoko initiative, when you went and set up the initiative for the garbage collection, you're gonna set an indicator to show you, oh, how will we know that our initiative is making an impact in the community? One probably can be like number of people that sign up for the activities, for the garbage collection activities. Maybe people who number of dustbins that show up in the Akoko village and things like that. So indicator is something that will show you like how have I achieved, or rather what will tell me that my goal is relevant, yeah? And for each goal, think about how you will measure your progress. This is the monitoring bit. Like the reason it's time bound is so that you can track the progress as well. To know like after 3 months, the goal I gave you was for 3 months. So I would assume your progress, you will maybe decide every 2 weeks, we are gonna be sitting down, having a meeting with the people, something like that. So you have to ensure that you're measuring your progress. And then how will you know that you're successful? This is when you do the evaluation and the analysis. And then so when we come to defining indicators and metrics, there are different types of indicators, and these indicators show us different things. For example, when you're defining the resources or when you're planning the execution before the implementation, the first thing is you'll understand what indicators do you need to look at. You can track the number of staff that you need for your initiative. How much money do you need? Do you need people to donate books to achieve your? So those are like input indicators. These are the things that will help you know that I'm ready to go and execute my initiative. Then output indicators, these are things that you will produce when you do the execution. This can be photos, this can be number of events you held, it can be the reports you have published. So like you can say number of reports published, probably you'll do a social media activation. So these are like output indicators. How many posts did you put out? And then outcome indicators is how people reacted, or rather like what was the outcome of your action or your initiative. For example, if you educated the community about the benefit of not dumping garbage everywhere, is there a shift in behavior, and how are you going to document that? Maybe a before and after photo. You can have that to show like, oh, the water was dirty and then now the water is clean. So like having all that planned out really helps you know that, oh, we actually did set a wonderful goal, like a SMART goal at the start. And for Lakemi saying you feel the attendance, it's in the chat. And then our impact indicators, these are indicators that, now this is what you communicate to, for example, funders, your social media following, like your stakeholders. These are the long-term effects. Like, for example, having garbage initiative that ensures people recycle plastics. So those are the things you publish. This is the communication strategy you come up with. And for you, in order for you to have something to report on, you need to have thought about during your strategy. You need to have factored that during your strategy. So for instance, here, our goal is increased youth participation in community giving. My indicator in this essence, it will be the percentage of increase in the youth-led initiatives within 1 year. So that will be my indicator. Yeah. Any question before I proceed? Okay. Anyone with a question? All right. So also, like, now that you have your initiative, you have your goal, how do you, like, once you have your indicators, that is, what collection mechanisms or data collection mechanism are you planning to employ? There are many ways of data collection techniques. You can use surveys, pre and post survey. I'm sure before this session, Polakemi did share like a pre-session survey. You'll probably get a survey post this. And these will vary depending on your initiative, your stakeholders, the resources available, and all that. So always choose, do you want to use a video to record your data? Do you want to have an interview with the community beneficiaries and all that? Just decide the method you will use and plan for it. And then the other thing is you have to think about where you'll store the data or which platform will host your data. You can use spreadsheets, you can use Google Documents, you can use Google Photos, you can use your social media pages. Just depending on the data source and the kind of data, always plan on data storage and how you'll organize your data. And then the other thing is data analysis and all. Depending on the nature of your data collection method, there are different things online and everywhere that can help you in doing the analysis or even writing up your, like, yeah, condensing your data in order to identify trends, make decisions, and even visually present it to stakeholders as you communicate your impact. Now, this is the part I wanted all of us to just take a moment and quickly, I know we have a few minutes to go, but I think we can take 5 minutes to do, feel free to use my goal, the one that you used during the breakout session, but I want you to think about one long-term objective or one long-term goal post the Starling Collective Fellowship. Think about it. You may already have an idea. So write it somewhere. You can type it. You can write it on paper, something like that. I'm just going to give you 30 seconds to do that. Then I'll go to step 2. And feel free to ask a question if you need clarification on the chat. I hope you're writing. Let me know when you're done. Thank you for the music, Isaac. So write. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just write your vision. You can draw it, whatever makes you see it. Step 2, now that you've written your, whatever your desire, your dream, your objective, I want you to think about one of them, if you've written two, just choose one, or if it's the one that you've written, think about what is the most actionable objective from your goal that you can do. Think about what you can achieve. If you were to achieve it right now, in order to achieve it, what is one immediate thing that you are able to do from your goal? Something that you think you are able to even start on tomorrow, or like, yeah. So think about that and write that down, and ensure that it's smart. Smart, we said, ensure that it's very clear, concise, it's specific enough. It's something that you can quantify. We've gone through the ways of how to understand measurement, define what its indicator will be, what its output indicator will be. Ensure that it's something you can actually action. Is it relevant? Do you think it's realistic? And then the other thing, ensure that it's timely. Is it something that is gonna serve purpose in this context, in this, like, is it, yeah. Or, and then after how long do you think you can achieve it? Ensure that it's something that you can quantify or qualify depending on the qualitative or quantitative approach. And then just write one objective from your main goal. Your goal can have several objectives, but for now, I just want you to identify one and write it down. Giving you a few seconds to do that. I hope you're writing. Are we? All right. Now that we have our goal, we have one objective from our goal. Let's think about how we are going to measure our objective. What indicators? The indicators can be 2 or 3 or 4. And then think about the data source. How will you get the data? Do you have access to those resources? Yeah. So think about how you will measure the indicators you will use based on the different indicators you've gone through. I hope you're writing. Can I get some group reaction to see that we've been able to write up the 3 steps? Just raise your hand or do a reaction if you've started on the process. Okay. I'm waiting for a reaction from the team to know that I can proceed as we wrap up. Thank you, Suzanne. Maybe 2 more, 3 more reactions. Someone else to share a reaction. You need me to repeat a step? Feel free to unmute and ask. Thank you, Sevo. I can see you're reacting. Awesome. Great. You have a couple of weeks to refine your goals, to write up, to add your goals, to have as many objectives as you want. But again, remember, they need to be attainable. They need to be smart, yeah? So I will send the slides from today to Fola, and then Fola will share them with you all so that you're able to refine. And as you cover the rest of the session, always feel free to come back to your goal, to your vision, to refine it, to ensure that it's smart enough. Because in the next session, we'll be reviewing what you have set and seeing if it's something you can take with you after the Starling Fellowship. For now, we have different resources and things that you can have access to. I'll also share this slide. So we have a measurement kit. It is more pronounced. It has more content based on what I've covered today. Then we have a measurement framework. The reason I did not share a framework with you all is just that I don't want you to feel like you need to stick to a certain framework, or I'll give you a moment, Sevo, to stick to a certain framework or whatever. I just needed you to see what works for you. Then you can go out there and decide this template works for me, this stuff works for me. So after we've set our goals and we've measured, next week the other time we'll be looking at some potential reporting frameworks and how to use your data, how to communicate and things like that. So for now, this is all I have for you all today. There's a group assignment before I address your question. So the assignment is basically, you can pair yourself up however you want, just based off these resources here, the first slide here. There's a template, there's the impact, there's the measurement framework. That's where your assignment will be on. And so basically you'll have time to review the template, take note of the key sections, start with the ones that you think are relevant to you. And based on what we've covered, write down your measurement goal, write down your indicators, plan for how you think you can track and measure your indicators, review the strategy impact slides, and then see what activities you can do. And then, yeah, so this is just an example of how your measurement framework is gonna look like. And yeah, we will review more in the coming session. So that's it for today. Anu, back to you. Sevo, you had a question, please ask, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name well.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you for being resourceful enough. And I just want to understand better
Okay.
the goal you ask us to set. Is it going to be streamlined to the Starling Fellowship, or streamlined down to our main organization? I just want to understand. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. I think it can be whatever you decide for it to be. If you are part of an organization and you're already part of a grassroots organization and you feel like there's a new goal you can set and use this fellowship to refine the goal, that would be a wonderful initiative to help you plan that out. Ideally, this is supposed to be as practical as possible and as realistic and part of you right now. So you can set your own goal as a Starling Fellow, what you're gonna do as for Starling activities, but it can also be part of your organization goals. It's really open. Just choose one and just create that, and you can always use the process in any other goal setting context.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's time for questions. Yeah. Thank you. Welcome. We are done. So it's just like raise your questions, ask. Let me be preparing the slides for you so that at least you can get them in.
Thank you so much, Nthanze, for sharing such valuable knowledge with us today. It's time for questions. If you have any thoughts or any suggestions, anything, please just unmute yourself, or you can drop your question on the chat box. You can read it out so that you can respond to it. If you have any questions, you're not asking any question. That means you really understand everything that has to do with strategic planning and those things. So if you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Ma. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. We really understand that if you follow this process, really helps our organization to create to update our profile in our organization. My concern is we need to share this slide to us and copy and adopt our organizational profile. Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation.
You're welcome. Yes, I'm just editing share up. I'm making the slides right now so that I can share them with you all. Yeah. Do you want them as PDF or as just basic slides? I'm going to share them as PDF. Fola, should I send them to you or should I just put them on the chat? Hello.
I guess you should share it with her, then afterwards you can then share it with the fellow.
You will share them? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so I want to say a big thank you to you. Really an amazing session, to be very honest. I learned a whole lot of things. I learned a lot. So thank you so much for this for sharing your expertise with us today. And I know and I hope that all the fellows will working with new strategies to set clear goals and track their impact. So thank you so much. Please let's clap for her. Let's say two things to her. You can drop it on the chat for her to see and everything. But no, we are going to be having an idea, so you need to make her happy. You need to make her happy, you need to make her smile. So thank you so much. Thank you. Someone said, did I say that you enjoyed the class? Doing well done, you did an amazing job. So like dividing the class into groups and letting us discuss of a great one too. The interaction helped a lot. Kudos, ma'am. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. So
Thank you too for being a wonderful audience and co-facilitator.
thank you.
And don't forget to do your assignment.
Thank you so much. See you. Thank you.
Thank you as well.
So
All
I'll
right.
be all right.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, bye, Nthanze. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.